Samuel Lincoln Woodward, 20, was arrested and taken into custody Friday on suspicion of homicide after DNA evidence linked to him to the death of Blaze Bernstein, a college sophomore, Orange County Under Sheriff Don Barnes said. The Orange County Register reported that Blaze Bernstein was stabbed more than 20 times. Bernstein may have been planning to sexually pursue Woodward, according to a 16-page search warrant affidavit obtained by the Orange County Register. Super Bowl fans have been tuning into the biggest game of the season for more than 50 years, but only 12 National Football League teams have actually won the championship. Currently, the Pittsburgh Steelers have the most Super Bowl wins in NFL history with 6 victories. Almost a year after charges against him were formally dropped in a 1992 crime spree, a man who spent more than 20 years behind bars is seeking damages from the New Orleans District Attorney's Office. Attorneys for Robert Jones filed a lawsuit Tuesday in the U.S. District Court. An appeals court threw out all of the convictions in 2014 and Jones was freed on bond in 2015 in the face of evidence that then District Attorney Harry Connick's assistants failed to turn over information indicating his innocence. Abu Dhabi, UAE. In 1960, the United Arab Emirates had about 90,000 people. Today, it has 100 times as many. That wouldn't have happened purely because someone found oil in the desert. The country's residents need water, and a lot of it. Oil has helped, of course. It has allowed the country to build large, expensive, and energy-intensive desalination plants. Such is the UAE's love for water that it now lists among the world's highest consumers of water, at about 600 liters per day per person. Today, January 15, at the launch of the 2018 International Water Summit in Abu Dhabi, the country took a big, bold step to ensure water security for its residents. The Abu Dhabi water. In the last few days of the year, the price of XRP climbed dramatically. In the process, and with tokens trading for more than $3 each, Ripple catapulted past Ethereum to become the second largest cryptocurrency by market cap. See also, Ripple briefly was second most valuable cryptocurrency, although it has since fallen by a significant margin. In the first days of 2018, Ripple had generated a great deal of excitement. See also, Bitcoin price slides further, Ripple builds lead over Ethereum. Perhaps that is why many investors found it odd when Coinbase announced in shares of Juno, which has a market value of $5.57 billion, were up 42% at $64.59 in extended trading. Chimeric antigen receptor T-cell therapy, or CAR-T, harnesses the body's own immune cells to recognize and attack malignant cells. Juno does not yet have any FDA approvals for its CAR-T drugs, but it released promising data from early trials for a blood cancer treatment in November. The Pentagon is developing 2 new types of nuclear weapons. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. Yahoo Finance's Alexis Christoforous and Miles Udland discuss what's behind the decision. An attempt to oust President Donald Trump's hotel business from managing a luxury hotel in Panama has turned bitter, with accusations of financial misconduct. Trump Hotels is contesting its firing, and its staff ran off a team of Marriott executives invited last month to visit the property during a search for a new hotel operator, according to 2 people familiar with the matter. After the Owners Association accused Trump Hotels of mismanagement and financial misconduct in a $15 million arbitration claim, the company owned by the president fired back with a $200 million counterclaim and refused to turn over the property's financial records. The rule states that if you begin by withdrawing 4% of your nest egg's value during your first year of retirement, and then adjust subsequent withdrawals for inflation, you'll avoid running out of money for 30 years. The 4% rule is designed for portfolios with a relatively equal mix of stocks and bonds, specifically, 60% stocks and 40% bonds. For example, if you're the risk-averse type and have 80% of your portfolio in bonds, you won't see the same level of growth as someone with a more stock-heavy investment mix. The California mother of 13 children who were allegedly tortured, starved or shackled inside a house of horrors was perplexed when investigators paid a visit to their home this week, officials said Tuesday. Authorities said Louise Turpin, the 49-year-old biological mother of all 13 children, appeared baffled about why authorities were inside her Paris, Kalof, home, where they allegedly found at least 3 children bound to their beds with chains and padlocks Sunday. The mother was perplexed as to why we were at that residence, Captain Greg Fellows of the Riverside County Sheriff's Department said at a news conference. Walmart, NYSE, WMT, made a big announcement yesterday. Walmart had slapped closed notices on dozens of Sam's Club stores across the country, surprising employees who had shown up for work that morning. While it may have been a public relations gaffe to mix both a good news and bad news story, it's understandable why Walmart is trimming its Sam's Club fleet. One of the biggest diamonds in history has been discovered in the mountainous kingdom of Lesotho in southern Africa. Gem Diamonds GMDMF found the 910-carat stone, about the size of 2 golf balls, at its Letseng mine in the country. This exceptional top-quality diamond is the largest to be mined to date and highlights the unsurpassed quality of the Letseng mine, Chief Executive Officer Clifford Elphick said in a statement. Kinder Morgan, NYSE, KMI, is coming off a down year after its stock dropped 12.7% in 2017. Through the third quarter, Kinder Morgan had generated $3.3 billion, or $1.47 per share, of distributable cash flow (DCF), which is money it could pay out to shareholders. Considering that those results put the pipeline giant on pace to hit its full-year guidance, it implies the company should produce roughly $1.54 billion, or 52 cents per share, of DCF in the fourth quarter. The country's total non-financial sector debt, which includes household, corporate and government debt, will surge to nearly 300% of GDP by 2022, up from 242% in 2016. By some estimates, China's true growth rate after taking the bad debt into account could be just half the official 6.9%. China's worrisome build-up of corporate and household debt is well documented, but fears of a financial crisis have receded sharply from the turbulent days of 2015 and 2016, when the country's stock market crashed on fears that an epic two-decade growth streak might come to an abrupt halt. Citigroup lost $18.3 billion in the fourth quarter as the bank had to take more than $20 billion in accounting write-downs related to the new tax law. The bank had a loss of $7.15 a share, compared with a profit of $3.57 billion, or $1.14 a share, in the same period a year ago. Citigroup wrote off $19 billion in deferred tax assets, which are credits Citi could have used toward future years. Because the new tax law lowered corporate tax rates, those credits aren't worth as much, and Citi, like other major U.S. banks, had to write down their value. The bank also took a $3 billion charge for foreign earnings it will bring back to the U.S. Excluding those charges, Citi earned $3.7 billion, or $1.28. General Electric Co. indicated it is looking closely at breaking itself up on Tuesday as the conglomerate announced more than $11 billion in charges from its long-term care insurance portfolio and new U.S. tax laws. Chief Executive John Flannery has previously raised the idea of selling pieces of the largest U.S. industrial company, but went slightly further on Tuesday, saying GE is looking aggressively at a spin-off or other ways to maximize the value of GE's power, aviation and healthcare units. Washington Times opinion editor Charlie Hurt on the accusation that the Clinton Foundation paid for Bill and Hillary Clinton's daughter, Chelsea's, wedding and the FBI's investigation into the Uranium One deal. In the end, Freeport-McMoRan could be a millionaire-maker stock, but I don't think it's worth the risk for most investors. Freeport-McMoRan investors were treated to a stock price advance at the end of 2017 that was nothing short of incredible. The rally was driven by a swift increase in copper prices that led investors to push related mining stocks higher. Few if any industries are growing as consistently quickly as the legal marijuana industry, and that's a big reason marijuana stocks have exploded higher in recent months. Surveys from Gallup, CBS News, and the independent Quinnipiac University all show that a record number of respondents want to see marijuana legalized in the United States. With Attorney General Jeff Sessions recently announcing that he would rescind the Cole Memo, which loosely protected states from federal intervention if they adhered to certain guidelines, the U.S. market is nowhere near as friendly to marijuana investors as its neighbor to the north. Canada has quickly risen to become the world's most budding example of a successful marijuana market. The folks who drive pickup trucks are an ardent, consistent lot. This week at the North American International Auto Show in Detroit, each of Detroit's so-called Big Three, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles NV, Ford Motor Co., and General Motors Co., is showing off a new pickup truck in the hopes of tempting customers currently wedded to a rival, or at the very least keeping its own drivers from straying. With that kind of black ink at stake, auto executives have been questioning just how loyal the typical pickup truck owner truly is. When it comes to full-size rigs, roughly half of pickup truck owners re-upped last year trading in a full-size truck and buying another rig from the same brand, according to Edmunds.com.